Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Grandma will be in here in a minute. We are getting set up to do a little bit of holiday baking. I am attempting to get this positioned how we think we're going to want it. So don't mind me. And I think that's showing pretty good there. All right, let me pause you a minute while we wait on Grandma. All right, folks, Grandma made it in here with me. Now, what we're going to do is a pumpkin pie first. She got a Stokely's. You can't see it. She got a Stokely's pumpkin pie. Stokey's, whatever. Y'all get what y'all want. Yeah. Now, what we're just talking about, you can buy this different ways. You can buy it where it's all but ready to go in the pie shell. You just have to add the evaporated milk type thing. So make sure you read your instructions and your ingredients.
You can buy just plain pumpkin, which is what this is.
Which is what we have. This is nothing but pumpkin. Now I'm going to read you the list and the directions, and then me and Grandma's going to get started. All right. 1 can, 15 ounce of the pumpkin mix. That's this one. Okay. 1 12-ounce can evaporated milk. 2 eggs slightly beaten. 3/4 cups brown sugar. Now I'm going to stop there for a second. Something Grandma was telling me I'd never really paid it any mind. These are dry measuring cups. The ones she has there. She's got this kind of shit all through our drawers, and I've fought with her for years and never really knew what they was. Well, she told me today. These are considered dry measuring cups. Our glass ones like this, which that's her beaten eggs with the pour spout. These are wet. Duh. I never really thought about it, but, we had that discussion. All right, 1 teaspoon of flour, which she's got ready. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which she has ready. 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, which she'll use. 1/4 teaspoon my head ain't right in it, is it?
Yeah.
1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. 1/4 teaspoon ground nutmeg. 1/8 teaspoon ground cloves, and then a 1 9-inch unbaked homemade pie shell, which she has over yonder. Now, and part of her baking strategy, I don't want y'all to. Oh, okay. Is that the one you're using for?
That's the pie shells that I use.
Okay.
Instead of making my own.
I've told y'all before, Grandma's the baker in the house, so I'm just a helper. And if y'all hear her talk short to me, do not go making these comments about how you don't like the way she talked to me, or if I get short with her. We are a damn good team, period. Little Joe and his wife made videos, and I get tired of hearing, I don't like the way he talked to her. Oh, knock it off, grow up, and let people be their marriage, So I don't want to hear it. But part of her strategy, she explained to me, is this pie is going to start at 450 degrees. It says preheat oven to 450. Thoroughly blend all ingredients and pour into an unbaked pie shell. Bake 20 minutes. Reduce temperature to 350 and bake 35 minutes longer or until knife inserts and comes out clean. Cool completely on a rack, then enjoy. We didn't get our racks out, did we? So what she was telling me is with this one being 350, she's going to do an apple pie next, and it cooks at 350. So while this is doing its 20 minutes on the 450, when it's time to reduce it down, she figures she'll be all but ready to stick the apple pie in with it. So that's her strategy there. So now, are we ready, Grandma?
I'm going to get the pie shell ready.
Okay, she's going to get the pie shell ready. And she gets these unbaked, and She's a little bashful, so I'll do a lot of the talking, but she'll do some of it to explain what she's doing. Yeah, they can see you there. If you want back up just a little bit, it wouldn't hurt. Now, obviously, from the looks of it, you got to do that kind of gingerly to get it started. And normally, I'm not in the kitchen help her do her Christmas baking and stuff. She used to do a ton of this, and we've been married long enough because I realized when to leave her alone and when not, and vice versa. So when she's doing stuff like this, I know it can get to be tedious at times and a little aggravating. Now look at how she's trying to fit that down in there. She's trying to get it up in them corners real good.
Get it kind of even.
And do you stretch it a little bit to make it come up top?
You can stretch it a little bit, just not.
Don't get carried away and tear it.
Right.
And we do this to show people how easy some of it really is.
It really is.
And
You can go buy the frozen pumpkin pie and put it in your oven and cook it.
and they're
But
okay.
this is not as hard as people make out for it to be.
Now, did
No, I'm
you
not
actually
one of
grow
those.
up baking, or did you learn this as an adult? I know your mama was a good cook.
Yeah,
But-
I learned this as an adult.
Okay, because you're like me. You really didn't have to do a whole lot of cooking as a
Yeah.
child.
There's a way to crimp this edge. I'm not good at all of that.
And actually, on some of her pies, she has me crimp the edges. That's about the only thing she'll let me do. But she does cookies, and, well, she used to. She ain't this year because of my dieting and her dieting. And we don't have all the kids here and stuff to eat it like we used to. We used to put on some pretty big shindigs.
So some people make real fancy crust, but I'm just not good at that. So
You're not Betty
I'm
Homemaker?
not Betty Homemaker, but they'll be edible. I promise.
Good enough. And this one will not get a top.
No.
All right, now she's going to get ready and start doing her putting together. Well, you ready? You
Yep.
tell me.
I got the pumpkin in the bowl.
Yep, she already got her 1 can of pumpkin. Now she's going to add her evaporated milk. Now, are you going to just add everything, or you mix a little bit as you go along?
I just add everything.
Okay. And next, she's going to want 2 eggs slightly beaten. And she went through a lot of prep work to have a lot of this stuff ready before we start recording. You let that set and then break in the remains, right? All right, 3/4 cup brown sugar. Now, she was telling me when you do brown sugar, you pack it in a little bit. Then she took the back of a butter knife and scraped it off. And with this, that's kind of neat how that does it.
How you pop these silicone
Yeah.
ones out. Yeah.
She did not have a 3/4 cup. So, simple math, she used a 1/2 and a 1/4. Actually, I dug them out and had them ready. I was helping. 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon. Oh,
You
wait a minute,
skipped some.
I skipped some. 3/4 cups brown sugar. We did that one. 1 teaspoon of flour. 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Already in here.
1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon. Now these she's gonna have to slow down on because she only had so many thingies. And if you watch, she'll break that edge a little bit to make sure that it's even. See the back of that knife? They didn't really get to see you, but next one we'll make sure they can. All right, that was your cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon ground ginger.
One 1/4 teaspoon.
Now she's got another one coming. No, that ain't in this one. She got one ingredient that just don't make a lot of sense to me in any kind of a dessert. That was the nutmeg.
No, this was ground ginger.
Okay. Now we got the nutmeg, and it is a 1/4 teaspoon. See how she rakes that off? Okay, an 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves. See, that's something else that don't sound right in here. Cloves. The other one is what? That tartar, cream of tartar.
Yes.
I don't
Okay,
understand.
this is a 1/3 teaspoon. Do we have an 1/8 teaspoon?
I don't know.
Yes, in this other measuring set right here.
Thus is why she has so many damn sets.
An 1/8 teaspoon.
Okay.
Yeah. The next set I buy, I'm gonna make sure it has all 5 of these instead of 4 that a lot of them come with. You'll find this, and then you'll have no.
All right, that's an 1/8 teaspoon of the cloves.
Yep.
That's everything.
That is everything.
Now then, she is going to, we done got the oven preheated. She's going to thoroughly blend it all. Now you can use an electric mixer, and we have one. We got a KitchenAid. We got all that. You're spilling shit off your flat thing. And she just chooses to do it by hand.
Well, this is very thin, so it's not hard to mix.
And I can see a lot of stuff on the edges of her bowl that she's working down. She's splashing that thin mixture on it, and she's hitting it with her mixer. Some right up here behind you. There, you got it.
So you
And
just
some
want
of-
to get it all blended well.
Some of this, it's so little of the ingredients in there. If you leave a decent sized knot of it on the side, you don't get it in. And that is super thin.
Yep.
It's almost watery. And now she's going to pour it in her pie shell. Now also, she will put these on a cookie sheet. I'm not sure why they do that. I think it's to help keep the direct heat off the bottom. Well, there's a clob of something.
That's brown sugar.
Oh, okay.
We will take that clog out of there.
We had bought some brown sugar. We both remember it. We talked about it in the store when she got it. And we got ready to make this. We can't find that brown sugar nowhere. So we did find an ancient brown sugar that we had. So I ran over to the store and bought a bag of brown sugar over to one of the dollar stores. All right, so now we want to put it.
This right into the sink.
Yep.
Bring the pie pan over here, or the cake sheet over here.
Now you want me to stick it in the oven for you, or you got it?
And now you stick it in your oven.
Top or bottom?
Top, the
All
middle rack. For baking, you always use the middle rack of the oven, unless it specifies otherwise.
There you go. That's a good tip. Always use the middle. Now then, we're going to get ready and do her apple pie. While that's starting, we're going to take a minute and we're going to clean up here, remove what we don't need, and get set up for the next pie. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, folks, we're back for a minute. Couple of changes in our plans. Grandma had read the wrong directions on the apple pie stuff, and it turned out that it needed to bake for at 420, I think it was. So it wasn't the 350. No, yeah.
425.
I needed to. Anyway, she got her stuff mixed up, which is real simple. Is make sure you're reading the correct directions on your stuff, which is not a big deal. So instead of starting our apple pie next, which we'd start getting ready for, we are now going to do her cheesecake, which is a minor change up. What I'm doing at the moment is she does different toppings on them. And we've got some M&Ms. These are the peanut butter, I think. Yep, peanut butter. And we also got some milk chocolate. We don't get the ones with nuts because where's our little candy thing? We have a candy thing we like to put them in. And peanuts don't go through it. So we got these two and we're going to mix them up. And I'm doing it before she does her cheesecake. Ooh, some of these are kind of big, Grandma.
Ooh, those
Do we want to pick out the big ones?
And those aren't going to fit through
No, they're
that
not.
hole right there. So
Well,
maybe
this
we
might
better
not
do
be
these on the pie and these in the jar.
That's what I'm thinking. At least the bigger ones of them.
I think.
Oh.
Take that small one.
All right. So see,
Change
you
your
just
plans.
never know. Change
Yep.
your plans on the go. Was you gonna need the cups for your nothing?
No.
Your dog just barked. All right. So see, we had never bought these kind of peanut butter ones before, and we seen them. I seen them last night, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think of?" And she thought it was a good idea. So we went there. Okay, these are all regular size.
Yeah.
So these will go in our jar. So I can get rid of this. And what you don't use of those, we can put in something else.
There's a block baggie will work.
Yeah. All right. So this is just a little something we picked up along the way. I don't even remember where. We've had it around forever. It's one of them things that the grandkids are just used to having around. It's a bowl, as you can see, then a little wooden slide thing. This goes in there. Tighten up your sides
You
for
can
me.
flip it over now. Set it down and tighten up your sides.
I can't tighten it with my fingers.
Well, you gotta get it going the right way first.
I am. All right. And then, close enough. Then all you do is you bring it out to the edge. I bring it to the edge. It should go either way, don't it? Then you push it in and you pull it out and it drops you out 3 or 4 little things. So that's just a little something the grandkids are used to seeing around. Since those are out, I gotta eat them. So that's taken care of. So that's gonna leave her these, which I'll pick through these and try to get the bigger ones to go on her pie. Now I'm gonna get out of her way. Now she had another little oops here. She's used to making, I was leaving that out in case you wanted for those, but it's all right. She's used to making this a double batch. And usually it's 8 ounces of Cool Whip, 8 ounces of her Philly cream cheese, and 8 ounces of sour cream. Now this time, she's got plenty of cream cheese in there for other recipes. She's got plenty of Cool Whip in the 8-ounce container, but she ended up buying a 16 ounce of sour cream. So she's gonna have to guesstimate about half of her sour cream. Go ahead, what do you want to say?
I've had this out to get to room temperature, but it's still a little stiff, so I'm gonna microwave it for a few seconds.
And that's a few seconds because we got a real high-powered microwave.
Yeah. I'll start like 10-second intervals and stir it.
I'm going to chase me down a Mountain Dew, I think.
One more time like that, and I think it will do it.
So she did it for 10 seconds that first time.
Maybe just about 5 seconds. get it hot. You just want to get it softer. There we go. That's better.
Now, is there a order you was talking about? You want to do it one way because something balled up on you.
Yes.
What was that?
That is the cream cheese that will ball up in your sour cream if you don't mix it well. So that's why you want your cream cheese softened a little bit more than just room temperature. So now I got to try to get half of this. And I'm sure it don't have to be totally exact, but you use about the same measurements. 8 ounces of each one will basically make one pie.
And that looks pretty
And
damn
having
close.
a little extra.
Can't hurt it.
Can't
Let me
hurt
go ahead
it.
and put that in icebox for you.
Yeah, that can go back in the icebox.
Now, also, if you'll go watch some of our videos, I know she's made these before. I think Little Joe has made these before. But it's one of them deals where if you want these flavored, like you want to do a banana type, you can, let me get these glasses out of the way. That's what's hanging you up. You can do different pie flavorings. What are you looking for?
The vanilla extract.
I might put in another one. That way over there with the seasonings. Right there. See, I put some of her stuff in the wrong place. You can put different seasonings in here. If you want a lemon type, then get a lemon pudding. Is it just a regular?
Banana pudding, just the regular dry pudding, Jello pudding
That takes
mix.
the milk type stuff or non-milk or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you mix the pudding with the sour cream because the sour cream is thinner than the cream cheese. So you mix the pudding with the sour cream, let that settle a few minutes to dissolve the powder of the pudding, mix it again, start adding your cream cheese and your other ingredients. I'm
Okay.
gonna need that bag of sugar we were talking about.
The big one. We tried to have everything ready, but oops.
Well, I'll
That's-
move that bowl.
Right?
Oh.
Now that's some artificial sweetener. Here, I'll put it back. That's some artificial sweetener. Do you need something else?
Nope.
Simply because she tries to make it a little healthier on me. Oh, now she's going back to her dry ingredient measures here. And she's got one for a 1/4 cup. So she's going to add a 1/4 cup.
After I start
And it's
this
going to get
mixing.
noisy. Oh, that ain't too bad. And no, that ain't a beer. I don't drink beer. Well, yeah, I do every blue moon. But it still ain't a beer.
They know what that is.
You think they know what that is?
Probably so. Okay,
They
I'm
think
adding
there's-
a 1/4 cup of our artificial sweetener. Or if you don't want it, well, that might be too much.
No, it won't be.
If you don't want the artificial sweetener, you use a 1/4 cup of sugar. This sweetener happens to measure cup for cup like sugar.
Now, a lot of you can relate. But when you have a short wife, you become the extension arm. It's the only reason she keeps me in the kitchen, don't run me off. So I can reach the high stuff. Ain't that right?
That's right.
I knew it. I knew it. About time you admitted it. Oh, you got pink numbers on your phone.
Yes.
You act like a damn girl.
No wonder. Okay, I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract as well. You can add almond extract and then top it with almonds, or
Banana extract?
I would imagine, or lemon extract. Just want to make sure it's well mixed and you don't see those little lumps of cream cheese that I was talking about.
I don't know if y'all could hear her or not. She's saying at this stage you make sure it's well mixed so you don't see them little lumps of cream cheese she was talking about. Then she'll go around her edges and make sure all of her edges mixed in good. The new mixer shouldn't be giving you a hard time.
No, it's my weak thumbs and...
You trade them in for newer thumbs.
Yep. We're just going to add the Cool Whip to it.
Now, we're not getting carried away or extravagant on any of this. And I know it's kind of fast paced for y'all on here, but actually we've taken several breaks.
Right away, I was going to set these in.
Okay. We're taking all day to do this stuff. I mean, I pause this out. You don't know how long you're gone, but you're gone a while. Yeah, I was just looking at it, 8 minutes. Matter of fact, y'all know we had 20 minutes on the pumpkin pie, and then we had an additional 35 minutes, and it's down to 8 minutes already. So out of 55 minutes, and however long we've been doing this. So
when you mix the Cool Whip in, you'll notice the texture and consistency of it will change.
Thicker, or
it'll get thick and puffy almost like.
Now also, side note, while we was taking one of our breaks, we was talking, and she had mentioned, she wished she had said, which I'm like, hell, we'll add it in later. She was saying her main reason for putting her pies on the cookie sheets is for spillage. Said sometimes they overflow and it makes a terrible mess in the bottom of her oven. Although she has a self-cleaning oven, it's still a pain in the butt. She'd rather catch it on a cookie sheet. So, and let me back that up a little bit so they see you.
Just spread the
She's trying to get it even.
Into your, and you kind of have to press it in, work the bubbles out from under it, and spread it into your pie pan.
And now she'll have a little bit left over. She always does. That's what she's got those little bowls over there for. Which we talked about putting some of in one of my go bowls.
And there ain't gonna be a whole lot left either.
Okay, well it's kind of dipping over here, so if you need to fill it in, there's some there for it. Well, no more than you got. You want to just put it all on there? Make it bow up in the middle.
It'd be hard to get that M&Ms
Yeah, they're M&Ms.
Sticking over the crust. I just
so not.
Yeah, and I like using 2 spatulas. That way you're not wiping it with your finger and licking your finger off.
And see, I prefer to lick my fingers. Or her fingers, I don't care.
Healthy. And you
Your
just
fingers ain't healthy? I thought they was. They're grandma's
smooth
fingers.
it out a little bit. You don't have to be pretty.
Now, she also told me that she will let this chill a little bit before she puts her candies or whatever topping she puts on it. And a lot of times for us, she'll slice up strawberries and put sliced up strawberries on there. That's our favorite.
And sprinkle it with a packet of Splenda, the strawberries. And they taste just like sweet strawberries, and they're good for you. Like you put sugar on them. Yeah, you just put that in the refrigerator and let it chill.
And then come back in what, a half hour or something, and
yeah,
put your toppings
or
on
whenever, a couple hours, whenever you get a chance.
All right, now our ice box is getting full. Can I put it in the freezer?
No.
Damn it. Thought I had, and one of our shelves broke, so we're short a shelf. That does not make this stuff easy. But we have it on order. All right, so what we need to do now, what are you gonna do with that?
I'm gonna find one of your little plastic bowls.
Then let me find one. What you got in there? Oh, that ain't much at all.
That little round plastic one, I think.
Yeah.
Worth. Oh, Charlie's.
Not that one. Not that one. Now this will be a to-go dessert for me. Look at the mess you're making.
Yeah, I never claimed I was a queen.
And yell at me. That was pretty much sour cream.
Oh, that was a little round.
Yeah.
Big one, but
It'll work. If it even makes it to the truck.
if it makes it to the truck.
All right, so while she's doing that, we had already got these ready, so I'll bring them over. Hell, I might eat this here in a minute just so I can give her a dirty dish. Now, Grandma's over here behind me. She does these dishes up while when she gets them dirty.
No, that I'm not going to, but I keep a sink full of dishwater going. So
Right. All right. So what she was telling me, mind your way. What she was telling me is regardless, because I thought now this time she had got one that is regular premium apple mix, and this one is light. So when she'd grabbed the bowl, I was questioning her, and she said she's doing it now so she mix the two together. But even normally, if she gets the exact same cans, she will still mix them before she puts them in her pie crust. She said sometimes one's heavier on apples or whatever your fruit is. Grab me a, thank you. So just a little word there. You know, you just want to make sure they get mixed evenly together so that you have a consistent fruit base in your pie.
And if you want to add cinnamon or...
Well, that's true.
The stage that you add it at.
Yeah, I hope you all heard her. She was saying if you want to add cinnamon and these are different colored apples too. Wow. One's a little more yellow, and the other one's a little more pinkish color. But she said this is the time where if you want to add any of your extras,
Seasoning.
you know, whatever your cinnamon or nutmeg or whatever. Come on, Dadgummit, get out of there. There's two of them that don't want to get cooked, Mom. All right, I'll leave those. Which she told me she don't do all that stuff to hers. You gonna do your pie shell? Am I in your way?
Are you gonna mix that?
Yeah, I got it. Now you already seen how to do her pie shells. So now a lot of times she'll do a lattice work. I love it when she does the lattice work. But she told me she really didn't want to do it this time. Simplicity. Alright, what
I
you
like
shoot
doing
by?
that on cherry pies. Because
What you shoot by?
the red.
Ooh, I don't think the center's quite done. Do you?
Use a toothpick test.
Grab a pot rag up there.
Well, push the buzzer. Where's the pot rag?
Right up there where I pointed at. Uh-huh. Yeah, it looks awful wet.
Yep, we're gonna bake another 5 minutes and try it again.
Alright, it ain't quite ready for her. So we're gonna give it another 5 minutes. And you can't always look at these and tell if they're done or not. She does that toothpick test a lot.
See if it comes out clean. Dry and clean. Okay.
But yeah, she does the lattice work, and it does take a little bit of work and effort to do it. And a lot of times she does different toppings, ways of covering them up, so that she will know exactly what it is. And normally on her apple pies, they get the slit. They get the little cut in them. So now she's trying to make sure they all lay down here so that when she puts that top on there, it makes it easier. Well, he laid down more anyway, so. And that's something else that she does that I ain't near as bad. She will scrape the holy dickens out of cans or jars and
I say that's pie crust or that's
pie filling or that's this,
cake
that's
mix
that.
too. Why waste it?
Well, I understand, but sometimes I
Yeah,
want
you
to see,
just
look,
kinda
you got a
wanna-
piece of plastic in there from scraping this
That's
bowl
not
so
plastic.
much.
That's dough.
Of
where it
course
just
not,
pulled that-
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I got you.
Alrighty.
And here's your other.
Just kind of get them evened out in there.
You done with this? I'll set it out of your way.
Yes, yes.
Go ahead and pick that up. I got
I
this.
don't want it up yet. I'm gonna be turning this around and
Okay.
right. Thank you.
We're watching. My subscribers won't like the way you're talking to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said I don't want that yet because I'm gonna be turning the pie plate around and around trying to get an edge.
If Papa Joe says it,
Oh, is it a Rodent Stone if Papa Joe says it?
yes.
Now you take your top pie crust and fold it under your bottom pie crust.
And that's something I can't do. She's tried to teach me to do that. I forget, it wasn't too long ago we was doing something you wanted me to do that.
Yeah.
It was giving you fits and you had me start trying and I got part of it.
This is how you're going to make that pretty ridge, actually. It's hard to do with the one pie crust, especially if your pie crust isn't hanging out over the edge of your pie pan.
What's the one you do where you have me do it with a fork?
It's this same thing, but I have learned how to make that pretty ridge
Okay.
better. I practiced at Thanksgiving, or
She had one, well, she said it was this kind of pie, where she would do this and it hung over the edges, and you take a fork and go all the way around it with a fork to make
Which
the
is-
two seal together.
which is the same thing I'm fixing to do with my knuckles that
But she always had issues doing that, and that was one of the things I could do for her. And it turned out halfway decent. So it's a matter of knowing your skills, abilities, or your spouses, or, you know, divide and conquer. If you're better at this, then do it. If they're better at this, then let them do it. Don't be prideful and try to do it all, and all that good stuff.
Okay, you tuck it in around the edges. Then they do this 2-knuckle thing. Oh, look, see, I'm tearing it even. Well, that's just another vent.
Right.
And it seals the 2 pie crust together and makes a pretty crimped edge as if you get better at it than I.
Well, all of this is a practiced art.
But that's the way they do that little ridge is between
And no
the
matter,
knuckles of your hands.
and no more than we do it. All right, this is about to go off, so don't back up. You got the oven open behind you. Oh, that looks better, but I still don't think it's quite done.
Okay, then we're gonna get a toothpick.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
And it looks to me like it's still stuck on there.
Little bit, not long.
How much longer?
Another minute or 2. It's almost done.
There's 2 minutes.
Then to vent it, you're just gonna make some slats with your knife through the crust, like so, however you wanna
On
do it.
the John Wayne movie, The Cowboys, they was questioning the black guy that became their cook. And John Wayne's wife was questioning him on apple pie. And he says, 1 to vent, 1 for me, and 1 because Mama did it. So he did 3 slots, I
You
think.
did 3 slots.
I
But
think
that
so.
is so that when your juice gets to bubbling, it doesn't explode. It's got a place to vent, and it doesn't explode your pie crust. Because if it's totally sealed, it's not pretty.
And as you all witnessed yourself, we read you all the directions on the pumpkin pie. And it ended it with until fully cooked. And we cooked it to those time limits. Then we set it for another 5 minutes. And now we've set it for another 2 minutes before it gets done. And we're getting ready to pull it out. So it ended up cooking about 7 minutes extra. So just a little bit of
different ovens.
Right, different ovens, different altitudes.
Different altitudes.
I mean, if you live in the mountain area, I can't tell you. I mean, me and my brother that lives in Albuquerque, we talk about cooking beans. He has such a hard time cooking beans out there. Which he grew up, beans is a staple. He don't know how to act without a bean. So, we're going to pull this out, or you want to test it again?
No, pull it out.
We're going to call it done?
Yeah, I'm sure it's done. It was practically done before.
It sure looks it. And also, if you'll notice, she has a ring that she puts on these. Oh, that is to protect the edges. Correct?
Now, when it starts browning.
Now, when do you go ahead and open that? I'll stick this one in. What?
I want to make sure the temperature.
Oh, okay. It was 420, I think.
425.
Was it 420 or 425? Let me look here. 425, you are correct. So now we need to let our oven preheat just a little bit and get back up to 425. But when do you put that lid on there? See, now if y'all can see over there, I'll bring it to you. I ain't gonna be moving them. And we need to get our cooling rack out. Now you can see her crust fell there on one side. It is what it is, you know. We're not in a pie baking place. And we do have some cooling racks that we use simply because we used to bake quite a bit of bread and stuff.
Cookies.
Cookies and different things. We loved it. And we bought some stackable cooling racks. And they're quite handy. Show them one of them, Mama. It's collapsible. Then you do it like that. And I ain't going to turn it around where you can see the other one. But set it down and set that pie on it. And there, that lets it cool all the way around. I'll back it up a little bit. So that's a cooling rack. They're not very expensive, but they are very handy. And we're pretty near done other than cooking that guy, right?
So we start the
Yule log.
Yule log, yes.
It's 2:30 already. Well, that ain't bad. We started, what, about 11 o'clock on the breakfast. All right, folks, we're going to let you go. And
after this bakes about 15-20 minutes, I'll check it. If this is starting to get browned, I'll put that metal cover over it. It just shields it from getting a whole lot darker.
Or more crispy.
Or crispy, yeah. Burn.
I want to set it over here on this one was already using.
Okay.
And this one I want to use. There really ain't no little ones there, are there?
No, they're all about the same time. This
close.
one's broke. I think I'll eat this one.
Oh, there's another
two
broke
together
one.
and it's broke. I'll eat this one too.
Damn, see if I can find this one's misshaped. Oh, and so is this one. I wonder if there's any of the right kind to go on the pie. Folks, we'll be back. We got to sort through candy.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
I don't know why you're sorting through candy.
I ain't sure if that went off or not. Nope. Okay. We just took the pie out. We wound up cooking it an extra 5 minutes. Simply because it wasn't getting as brown as we like. You can see Grandma's edge here prettied up real good. Like so. Oh, pretty looking pie. We're going to put it over here on a cooling rack. Make sure that leg's pulled out for me. It don't act like it is. Okay, maybe it's just on that. Good. All right, there we go. That was hot. Get that off the counter. Now, I had originally planned on doing all her desserts in one video. Let me put this down where you can see me and Grandma. All right, level that out. There we go. Come here, Grandma. We had planned on doing all of these desserts in one video, but this next one that she's going to try, she's a little concerned about it. It's a little complicated, and it's taking it to the next element for her. So we're going to do these 3 simple desserts that we did here because they're basic, everyday stuff that anybody can do. If you apply yourself just a little bit, read directions, follow directions. They're really quite simple. Don't let it intimidate you. But the next one's going to be a little more advanced. She's been in there reading up on it while this pie was cooking. She's read it before. But now that she's getting ready to make it, she's reading it more intense, you know, and figuring it out. So that's going to be a separate one. But as for these 3 simple ones, I hope y'all would give it a try. If not this Christmas, anytime. And practice a couple of times before the holidays roll around. If you've got folks coming out and you want to put on a good presentation, then try them. They're not expensive. They're not complicated. They don't really take that long. So practice up a little bit before you actually do it. Any words of advice to them, Grandma?
Nope. Just follow directions.
Right.
The directions on the can of
container.
pumpkin. For the pumpkin pies, on the apple filling, cherry filling, the directions are on the can.
Well, with that, we do want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas. Remember, He is the reason for the season. Keep Christ in your Christmas. Y'all have a blessed weekend and a happy holiday and a good holiday season. You know.
And a Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas. And y'all remember, God loves you. So do we. Y'all have a blessed day now. Bye.
Bye, everyone.